gives you. Don't do anything at all. Go ask Alice.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to another After Hours special for Women in Horror Month. Today, I'm joined all the way from Perth, Western Australia, by the fantastic Stacey Jaine Mcintosh, who is also the head honcho of Iron Faerie Publishing. Hello, Stacey. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good, very good. And I imagine, I know I've caught you on the hop, because the only way we could actually have this conversation is if it was 1 a.m. for me and 9 o'clock in the morning for you.
Yeah.
You just had to deal with your kids, right?
Yeah. Rush is horrible, but they got off to school all right, like really early today, so that was a surprise.
Bonus. I thought because I thought you'd be down to the wire when I sent you the thing. I thought, well, you know, I'll make a point of saying there's no rush because I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I was really shocked. It was like 5 minutes to go, and you were like, "Yeah, cool."
Yeah, no, they were out the door. It normally doesn't happen like that, but they were out the door by 8, so I was like, wicked.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah, I just asked you this a few minutes ago. You would describe yourself as a writer of sort of dark paranormal romance and Celtic mythology,
Yep.
and sort of Celtic, and you tend to go into Arthurian legend as well, don't you?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, excellent.
Yep.
Because this is something I wanted to speak to you about, because I last year I had a story accepted. I was over the moon. It was for a mashup of Arthurian legend and Cthulhu mythos called
wow.
Shadow over Avalon, and it's coming out this year. I was over the moon about it, and I was just like, you know, have you ever thought about doing like exploring some like cosmic horror in your Arthurian legend?
Not cosmic horror, because I don't quite. I don't know. I've never read it, so I don't.
No,
I'd have to.
That was a stupid question, because it was just like, you know. So, you know, with your, I noticed when I looked at your Amazon page that you've actually, you released the book, didn't you? The LaFay, I can't remember the name of it.
LaFay, Morrigan, and Pendragon, and yep. And Solstice is what? Yep.
So yeah, we were talking about your Arthurian legendy stuff that you've done.
Yep.
Yeah, was that, when did like, basically, how did your career kind of as a writer start, in terms of what were you writing when you started with?
How far back do you want to go? When I first started publishing, the focus was sort of fantasy, and I kind of fell into the Arthurian Legends, partly from Ancestry and partly from a word prompt of all things. I got given.
You hear that a lot, actually. The word prompts. I mean, because I mean, for my personal thing, one of the best things for my career was last year's Erie River short story monthly things, because every month they gave me a prompt.
Yeah.
I only got one accepted, but I did all of them. One of them turned into a novella. So.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. So word prompt. What was the prompt?
Revenge.
Just revenge.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, Morrigan came from that, and it was originally about 2,500 words. So yeah, I don't know if you've read it, but so the first 2,500 words of that was the story that I came up with, which was basically Morgan getting revenge on Arthur and killing Uther.
Nice.
And that was because it was part of a competition. So, and I actually got some decent feedback because I always used to come last in these little competitions. And I'm like, so that was fine because I was just doing it for the experience back then.
I have never, oh no, tell a lie. I have won a competition, but it was like just a drabble thing, which was very surprising because I don't write drabbles. But all of the other competitions I've ever entered has always been kind of didn't fit the brief. Yeah, so you won it. No, you didn't win it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Brain.
Yeah.
So how did you extrapolate that into a bigger picture?
I just continued it. I had another opportunity to submit a story to a fantasy anthology, like it was just genre type thing. So I went, well, I've got to start or something, and I think it was maybe 5,000 words they needed.
Nice.
So I just kind of like grew the story a little bit more and added in dragons because you need dragons.
You can't go wrong, can you?
Yep.
Add a few dragons in, winner.
Yep. So it grew from there, and then when I published it myself, I think read it over and tied off a few loose ends, and it grew to the 6K story it is now.
Nice. I like that when something grows organically.
Yeah.
I mean, because I mean, it's kind of a joke with a lot of people I know that I can't do short, like really short stuff, which will bring me on to my next bit of business in a minute. But yeah, because I never plan anything, and I just let stories grow organically. And sometimes I'll have a bit that I've cut from somewhere else, and I'll go, that kind of fits this brief.
Yeah.
Let's explore it a bit and let it just grow. But I've got to say that I mean, that concept, you said two things that are an absolute winner for me. You said revenge and Morgana.
Yeah.
So
yep.
Like I say, big fan of Arthurian Legends, and yeah, I'm gonna have to read it. I'm gonna have to read that. Yeah. So yes, that brings us on to, like you said, you did you self-publish that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that brings me on to my next question. Iron Faerie Publishing.
Yep.
Now I never really heard of you until David Green sent me a link for something, and I had a look at your submissions, and I ended up submitting 2,500 word stories for the 4 seasons thing.
Yep.
And I was delighted that you accepted them because they're kind of linked and they kind of make up a thing. And I thought this is a bit of a hard sell. And but you had such a great variety on there. It's like, so I saw Wraith as well is one that I intend to have a look at. So Iron Faerie, where did that come from? How did that come about?
That came about purely because I do tend to hit and miss when I submit to certain publishers and stuff. So I was like,
we all do. I mean, I should have the Stephen King nail with all. Do you know about the Stephen King nail? He put up a nail to hang all his rejection letters on.
Yeah.
I should have one of them. I get so many.
Yeah,
they all say the same thing. You didn't read the brief.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, very generic ones. You were just unsuccessful. I'm like,
oh yeah, that one as well. I mean, we all get them.
Yeah.
They're the sort of one you can just go about.
Yeah.
The only times I ever get feedback, it's like, good story, well written, totally not what we're looking for. Goodbye. So out of a few rejections and whatever, and you say you hit and miss, came Iron Faerie.
Yeah, I just went, I want to get my work out there and might as well help other authors do the same. So
Yeah, and I
I
think
went
you've done a
with
good job on that. I mean, because like I've seen the what is it, Rowan and Oak?
yep, yeah.
Is there a couple of them or something?
Hawthorne. Well, it started with
That was
Hawthorne.
it. Hawthorne and Ash and Rowan and Oak. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was originally just going to go keep it to like this online sort of thing, and then I kind of dropped the ball and went, well, I can't do the blog thing every week or something because
Oh
it's just
God, I tried to do that when I first sorted out a website. I was like, I'm going to do this every week.
yeah.
I haven't done a blog in about 2 months.
I haven't done one since November, so
No, you're beating me.
yeah. Now I'm like, oh, so the blog's just gonna sit over there, and I'll get to it when I get to it.
Mm. Yeah. So I mean, because I think I saw the submission window for like Hawthorne and Ash and Rowan. So what
Yeah,
was kind of when you started Iron Faerie, what was the sort of thing that you were really looking for from other authors?
I guess fantasy, which grew to paranormal, which grew to horror as well.
Yeah.
Just the whole kind of, yeah, that kind of area, genre wise.
Yeah, so because we were saying just before we went on air that one of your big things is Celtic folklore,
Yep.
and it's full of romance, but it's also
Yeah.
full of horror.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of your big passions, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So, like with Iron Faerie, what was the ultimate goal? Like after just getting your own stuff out there and helping out some authors, where can you see it going now?
Probably growing, hopefully. I'll see how I go. I'm just getting a bunch of stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Probably opening up to sort of bigger, like word count pieces, like maybe even solo author stuff.
Awesome.
Type thing.
But I think you're doing the right thing by just going kind of at your own pace, because I've seen so many publishers that start out and they start out too quick.
Yeah.
It's best to, because you're still learning, aren't you? I imagine, it's all every day. It's like, oh, what am I doing now?
I've been publishing since November 2011.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, I've been around. I guess.
So what was that about then? I didn't know that because I only thought because Iron Faerie's not been around very long. So
no, Iron Faerie hasn't, but I have, in terms of like throwing out short stories and stuff like that. And,
oh right, yeah, there's a the sort of doing the because it's something that terrifies me, because people say to me I should try doing a few like self-publishing things and all the rest of it, but I have got no acumen for that kind of thing, because you've got to kind of be on the ball for all that, and I'm not. it's like I need an editor. I need an editor, because I'm one of them writers that will just waffle on for page after page after page about tentacles. And I need somebody to come along and go, okay, we've had enough about tentacles now. Can we have some character?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were already experienced in that kind of business. Do you do the editing in Iron Faerie as well?
I do. Yep.
Yeah. Excellent. Now I can say your editing is very good, because I have had the privilege also of, obviously Four Seasons isn't out yet, but I have been in this very sexy little book.
Yeah, it's cute. I like it.
It's awesome. I didn't realize it was going to be one of these. I've got a big thing about these little pocketbooks, because basically they fit in my sporran.
Okay.
Anything I can put in my sporran when I go on a train, winner.
Yep.
Yeah, and it brings me to probably my biggest single fuck up in my writing career was when you He invited me to this and I completely misread the word count.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember me coming to you? And I said, Stacey, I've kind of got a bit over I've kind of got a little bit over the word count. It's around 3K. And you went, it should be 2,000, it should be 250.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a moron. I'll go.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, David Green loves that story. It's his
Yeah.
favorite. It's his favorite at the minute.
He actually messaged me, and I'm like, yeah, I handled it, and we had a bit of a laugh. I'm like,
well, no, because I actually realised when we were having the conversation, I went, "Oh shit!" And I just went, "No worries, I'll start again."
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board. The thing I was originally writing, that is currently about 15K, and I've still got 2 bits to write on it, so it's going to end up being a novella.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I was actually really kind of honoured to be asked to do this, because you'd already put out the one, the companion piece.
Yeah.
What's it called? I forget the name.
Once.
Ah, that was it. Once. Yes, and it was the princess fairy tales thing. Yes. And you had some great people in it. And then you'd obviously decided you wanted to do the counterpart and do the male side of it. And I was actually I was really honoured that you asked me, because that's not the kind of thing I usually write, like wizardry and all that. Okay, I have gone full on cosmic horror with it, but I think basically what inspired it was, you set up the group.
Yep.
And we all started sharing pictures of cat wizards.
Yep. Yep.
Who started that?
I honestly can't remember.
It was me. I posted a picture of a cat in the sink with a wizard's hat on, a GIF.
Yep.
And my comment was nothing to do with cat wizards. I just said, "Hey, wizards, really rock and roll," sort of thing. And you commented under it, "Cat wizards for the win," and that's what started it.
Okay.
That's what started it. And from that, it turned into this. Basically, the whole page, for like, obviously it was a private group, so you can't see it, but the whole page was just people posting pictures and GIFs of cats in wizard hats. So I haven't actually read it yet, because my to be read pile is like Mount Everest. So how many out of the authors went the cat wizard route?
I know David didn't.
No.
And two
Chris
others.
Hewitt did.
Yeah. Two. Charles Rays didn't. Another author, his name's escaped me at the moment, didn't as well. I think it was probably about half in the end.
And I thought, well, if I'm going down that route, I want to get some cosmic horror in there. I'm going to go Cats of Ulthar. So, so I had thousands of cats in mine. No, I honestly really enjoyed working on that, because it completely took me out of my comfort zone. And I think sometimes you need that. Like, I mean, especially because I don't write drabbles and things like that, because I can't. I mean, I honestly don't think I can do them. They hurt my head. They seriously hurt my brain. I'm the complete opposite to a lot of writers, whereas my comfort zone is sort of 5 to 8K and upwards. Yeah. So yourself, where is your sort of comfort zone when it comes to that? Do you do a lot of drabbles? And I seem to.
Yeah, I do.
I seem to have seen quite a few of them around, but.
Yeah. I do anything from 100 words to 60K. So I've got
versatility. I like it.
well, yeah, kind of. I have been in the shadows, and I spent a lot of time doing NaNoWriMo and essentially writing novels.
I didn't know what that was until the middle of November.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know what it was. Somebody posted, "How are you doing on NaNoWriMo?" And I went, "What is that? A computer virus?" I was being deadly serious. I had no idea what it was. I've only been like writing properly since sort of like the middle of 2019. My first published story was December of 2019, and I'm completely clueless about a lot of things. I didn't know what no sleep Reddit was until Natalie Brown explained it to me. I've kind of just blundered into all this.
Yeah.
But you've obviously been doing this quite a long time and honing your craft. I mean, I'm still just finding my feet. So maybe down the line I'll be able to do travels.
Yeah. There is when it comes to Drabbles, I guess there's a trick to it. It's literally like obviously with every story you have a beginning, middle, and an end. And so I use first 50 we're dealing with Drabbles. First 25 words as the beginning, last 25 is the end.
Yeah.
And the rest in the middle.
Yeah. Well, you see, I never plan. I'm a complete and total pantser. So I just start writing something.
Yeah.
Something short, and I'll get to the end of it and I'll check the word count, and it's like 1,500 words. Okay. Try and cut it back. Not working.
Yeah.
Start again. I mean, do you think are you a plotter? Would you say?
Sometimes, other times I totally just wing it. So
you're somewhere between. You're in that sort of that David Green like sort of thing where you kind of one day you are, one day you're not. Where I can't plot to save my life, because if I start plotting something, I'll never get anything written.
Yeah. No, I tend to like Drabbles. I completely kind of like I'll go with the theme and then I'll just waffle. It's just like comes out of nowhere.
Nice.
Kind of thing. Short stories, I have to at least have an idea. If I don't have an idea, right.
I have an idea. I mean, I tend to get a lot of mine from dreams or just things that pop in my head. And I'll basically have a scene, and the rest of everything is making that scene work. I'll have a vague idea of what I'm doing and where I want it to go, not necessarily how it ends. 9 times out of 10, when I start writing, I have no idea how the story's going to end. But I have an idea of the meat of it. Yeah, I know the main course. So I'm using a cooking analogy. I'm a chef. I know the main course, but I have no idea what starter you're going to have or dessert. So so where would you say you're sort of similar on that then?
Yeah, a little bit. Like with my larger works, I tend to sometimes I'll have like I'll write the bulk of it and then I'll go back and go get more of a plan to kind of so it's organized.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just me waffling on for 60,000 words, which doesn't always work.
Hey, that's my entire writing career. So no, but I know what you mean. Sometimes it works, and sometimes I just tend to waffle and then go back with the shears and just cut that. Try and organize it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a similar sort of process.
Yeah.
No, yeah. My partner, she's a much better writer than I am, much better. But she's never actually finished anything.
Yeah.
because she's one of these with post-it notes everywhere. And
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of writers like that. And I know ones that make it work, where they
Yeah.
plot everything out, and the ones that make it work, my hat is off to them, because it's usually really intricate and really tight, like tight as a drum. But then you know so many that try it that way. I mean, I did the first thing I did, because I didn't completely ask backwards. The first thing I tried writing was a full-length novel.
Yep.
And I spent months just writing notes and fucking doing this and all that and the rest of it. I even had flow charts and bloody spreadsheets. And once I started actually writing it, I threw it all away and just wrote the damn thing. But I'd spent like 6 months arsing about when I should have just been writing. You know, it's horses for courses, isn't it? What works for one person, what doesn't work for another.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier with Iron Faerie, you've got an open call at the minute, Wraith.
Yep.
I'd like to tell us a little bit about that, because that tweaked my antenna a little bit.
Yeah, that open call actually came about because I'd written a good couple of years ago. I'd written a kind of ghost vampire type story, and I was like, we'll see how, like, I've done it in the past. We'll see how other authors handle it, like ghost kind of ghost stories sort of thing. So, or ghost like stories. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So, what's your kind of what's the word? You're putting these calls out. So, what's your kind of my brain's got completely blank. I mean, how many people would you think? What's the reception of the calls you're having? I mean, can you feel it growing?
It does depend on the call.
Of course, of course.
The like Fable and Villains that got a lot.
I don't know those. That's
they're the fairy tale type, the twisted sort of fairy tale ones.
Oh bollocks! I must have missed that. I have a bunch of like mad fairy tales kicking around, but yeah.
So they got probably 50 or so submissions, whereas Wraith and Nephilim, they didn't do so well.
But they're both still open, right?
Nephilim is temporarily closed at the moment, but I'm going to reopen that one. But Wraith's reopened because I only got maybe 10 for Wraith and even less for Nephilim. So, and I think I accepted half for Wraith so far. Couple missed the mark.
Yeah.
So I've had to reopen them. Yeah.
Right. Well, Well, hopefully, if people watch this, there is open calls on Iron Faerie. But I think, like I say, you're very much fledgling. And it's a question of just getting your name out there, because there is so many indie publishers now, like so many.
Last 2 years, it's just like, what? Where are they all coming from?
I mean, it was great for me as a writer. I just started, and all of a sudden there was all these like, we're new, submit your stuff to us. It's like, okay, there you go. But imagine like trying to get, because I've been talking to this with some of the other people I've had on, just getting yourself noticed is really difficult. Like as an author and a publisher. Like, and I guess well, basically, I'll go and stand on a soapbox and wave Iron Faerie things around in the air. Why not? Might work.
Yeah. You never know.
So, like from a writer standpoint, from your personal perspective, what have you got in the pipeline that you're working on?
I've got a series of 9 novels that,
I was
yeah.
expecting, a couple of short stories, 9 novels.
Yeah, so when I say I've been in the shadows, that's the thing I've been working.
Nice.
So I jumped back into short stories, I think 2018.
Yeah.
Because Zoe actually, she got me, she's like,
Zoe Zoltan.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I've known her for ages. So she's like, come publish short stories with me. And I'm like, okay. And then, yeah, Drabbles came about, and I'm just like, oh my God, 100 words. But yeah, obviously I made it work. Because, yeah, I had to essentially relearn, because I've been focused on my novels for so long, I had to relearn how to write short stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, like I say, I did it completely arse backwards. I started off doing novel and then did loads of short stories. Now when I'm trying to get back into doing, I need to go back and fix that because it's a mess. But it's like my brain's in sort of novella mode, because that's my kind of my sweet spot. But yeah, and going back to something that's like 60K is just scaring the shit out of me. So these series of novels, right? These 9 novels.
Yep.
It's obviously a series. Can you tell? Like, obviously, don't spoiler, but can you tell us a little bit about what that's going to be?
It's the genre is paranormal romance. It deals with, it's predominantly Irish mythology with a little bit. So it's basically, I like writing about, I guess, fairies and humans kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So
excellent.
Yeah, you get that kind of
the little people. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Except they're not so little. They're more like, I guess, almost.
Oh, so more
Tolkien
like your Tolkien-esque fae, like
yeah.
rather than your little people. Yeah.
Yeah, rather than the small little Tinkerbell type fairies.
Yeah.
So there's that. But basically, I take.
Hence why there can be romance, because I can't imagine there could be romance if your partner's about that big.
Yeah. No. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hence.
I always found that Tinkerbell Peter Pan thing a little bit creepy, I've got to say.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it as a kid, but I don't. Yeah. Gotta get.
Don't think about it too hard.
Yeah. So yeah, I take Celtic mythology. So like, okay, I'm blanking now. Like Hearn and Morrigan and like Anan and things like that.
Nice. Yeah.
And I basically, so I put a fairy spin on the deities essentially, and so all Irish deities are actually fae.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way of doing it, I think.
Yeah.
Quite unique.
Well, not really. If you look at the myths behind fairies and that sort of thing, there's actually one that says they're actually just old gods.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So I went, okay.
I was thinking specifically Hearn the Hunter and a fairy. I can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean that's a bad idea. I think that's a great idea. It's blown my mind a little bit.
Yeah. So, and it started off, I guess, with Irish mythology, and then Morgan popped up, as a side character to, of all things, Nephilim. So angels and demons and Lilith.
Nice.
And
Yeah. Oh.
and she popped up.
Getting into the whole pagan sort of mythology now. Now you're ringing my bell. So yeah.
Yeah. So she popped up as a side character, and had, of all things, a cat, and he was named Merlin, and an imaginary friend. Or she thought he was an imaginary friend, called Arthur. So turns out
that's cool.
He's actually a fairy prince, and all this drama, and
that is the sort of thing my partner would really enjoy, because that's her kind of bag. I mean, I don't read a lot of like fantasy and that kind of thing. Not because I don't like it, it's just because I've got a mountainous pile of cosmic horror to read through. But that's really, really interesting. Yeah.
So it all just I don't know, I started off in one little niche, and it's kind of just grown, and it's become this melting pot of just, I guess, instead of just Irish, it's become Celtic, and I can see it kind of
Arthurian, and you got all that kind of stuff in there. That's great.
Yeah.
So I can see why it's now nine, a series of 9, because that's gonna go in places that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
When you start exactly. Start getting halfway through it, that's just gonna go.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. No, that actually honestly sounds really, really interesting. Yeah, because you're a Wiccan, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah. I identify as pagan. So we're kind of shooting from the same board here. But so these myths, the Celtic myths and all the rest of it, you said you felt your ancestry.
Yep.
I know your name, Mcintosh. So
my grandmother on my mum's side came over from Wales when she was 3. So
whereabouts? It's probably somewhere you can't pronounce, but where? Sorry.
Masteg.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, I've got family in Wales as well. Yeah, my family. You may have guessed by my pallor that I'm a Celt, because underneath all this hair dye, I'm ginger. You can only tell when you look at my moustache.
I couldn't actually, but my husband's actually a redhead, so.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. I think as a writer, I think it's always nice when you can tap into something that's kind of real.
Yeah. Yep.
So in that, do you explore your family ancestry at all?
Yeah, I've traced it back.
Nice.
I'm stuck in the 1700s, unfortunately, on all branches. But I've traced it back. I used to, at least in pagan circles, I used to call myself a Celtic mutt, because I can trace back Scottish, English, Welsh, and Irish.
Yeah.
So from all branches, it's basically like, and even my husband, he's not that he likes me delving into his side of things, but he's got Scottish and Irish. His family was actually in the same small town as my family at one point. So that was curious. But so
I find ancestry and all that kind of thing absolutely fascinating, because I've not done the whole DNA, all that kind of business. I've just gone through my family's stuff.
Yeah.
And because I know my family is basically of Scotland and Germany.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I've got that proper Anglo. I got that. I mean, that explains the nose and the jaw a little bit.
Yeah.
But but my partner, her ancestry is absolutely fascinating because her mother is from Alabama,
All right.
and yeah, and she's actually of native descent.
Oh wow.
But on the other side, it's Scottish.
Oh damn.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's like completely out of the blue. Just like okay, okay. We seem to have lost Stacey Mcintosh. Are you back?
There we go.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what
I
happens
find
when
that
we're
I'd
doing.
love to do a DNA test because there was a whole thing a while ago saying that people like from the north of Great Britain have Neanderthal DNA. I've got a
Yeah.
massive forehead, right? And no
Yeah.
discernible waist. I'm convinced I've got Neanderthal DNA. It
Well,
explains why I've got hands like shovels. So,
I said um on the whole Neanderthal thing
yeah.
that I think everyone has a little bit
Mm.
because of the way
Yeah, it was
humans.
the way they migrated and all the rest of it. But it was there was a study and they said like the people who like from the north of the United Kingdom had the highest percentage.
Yeah.
So that, that explains my big head, my big thick forehead, and the fact that I've got a big arse. That would explain a lot. I'm built really low to the ground. I'm kind of like a tank. So I'd love to do one at some point just for a laugh.
Yeah, I'd like to too. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, and also it costs money, doesn't it? And
It does. Yeah.
something I have very, very little of. But because
Yeah.
I can
Kids.
imagine like Australia, because I imagine you were born there, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I can imagine with like the history, like obviously the penal history and the colonial history.
Yep.
Imagine like some of the DNA there is going to be some really, really
Yeah.
interesting combinations.
Well, I've actually got on my dad's side. There's a lot of convicts.
Yeah.
But so a lot of the Irish, English, I think as well, they've come over because they were convicts.
To Botany Bay, yeah. I
Yeah.
used to be in a pirate folk band, and we used to do the traditional shanty Botany Bay, which was and also South Australia. We used to do that as well, which is all
Yeah.
about the convict history, about the Irish being sort of shipped over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I find Australia's history quite fascinating. It's like especially like in I think it's Sydney, maybe not Sydney, maybe somewhere else. But underneath they've got that stream. It's now like just a drainage thing, but it was actually like hand carved by the convicts. Okay. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but I remember reading about it, and it was really like, wow, that's really intense. These poor buggers were sent like under the ground to chip it out with chisels and stuff, man. It's just like,
yeah.
that explains why you're such a hardy bunch out there, man. If you can cope with that and the snakes and the spiders.
The high temps and shit. Yeah.
Oh God, I couldn't cope with. I could cope with the spiders. I could cope with the snakes. I love spiders. I love snakes.
Yeah.
I could cope with all the killer creatures. I could cope with all the rest of it. I could not cope with the temperature.
Yeah.
I mean, look at me. I go out in the sun and I burst into flames. It's just like I would last 2 minutes in Australia. I'd just be this bubbling puddle. Oh God, summer here kills me moving down south because I live in Brighton.
Yeah.
And the summer here kills me. I can't do it. It's just,
Yeah.
But my partner having that that sort of native like American DNA and all the rest of it. She can't do the cold, and she loves the
Oh,
sun. So basically, all year we fight over the thermostat. It's just
Yep.
like, turn it down,
Yeah.
turn it up, turn it down, turn it up.
yeah. No, I freeze in winter, and I don't really cope with. I mean, it's more of a dry heat,
Mhm.
but when it really
Now,
hot,
you
it's
see,
like,
I'd
no,
be happy. I'd be happier with the dry heat. Well, I can't stand is humidity. I
yeah.
can't do humidity, and
No,
that's what our summers are like. That are so humid. It's just
we get humidity from time to time, but yeah, which is horrible because then you're sticky and shit and all the rest of it, and it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
chafing. That's the worst about it. Chafing.
yeah,
Ugh. I was chef for like 20 odd years, right? Summer. Oh, the chafing. Talcum
yeah,
powder. It's like, it's so funny when people think about chefs and like all the drinking and all the drugs and all the extraneous activity that goes on with being a chef. Yes, that happens. But what people don't talk about is the amount of talcum powder we get through.
yeah.
Seriously. Every morning you get in there and you tip a whole load of it down your kecks. Yeah. Oh God. So you're Perth, yeah?
Yep.
Trying to. I've never been to Australia. So I've got to ask, because you're the first one I've had on us after hours that comes from Australia.
Yep.
Cane toads.
That is Queensland, I believe.
Yeah, it's further up, isn't it? Yeah, it's sort of.
The eastern states. So
Yeah, I've got to say, 'cause I love toads. I love them. And it's just funny because my how I see Australia is this beautiful land, right?
yep.
Sunburnt, and this army of toads. So,
Yeah. At least I think it's Queensland. Yeah. Yeah, but probably over in Queensland. So we don't tend to get here.
my other favourite thing about Australia is wombats. I love wombats. I want one as
Yep.
a pet. Although their claws would kill my sofa, but I love wombats. They're adorable creatures. But I understand that they're such a pain in the arse, like digging
Yeah,
out people's gardens. I mean, we've got rabbits, but they're just nowhere near as fun.
yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine actually moved out to Australia, and she was amazed. Like the first time she met a wallaby in a park, she was like,
Yep.
sending pictures. Oh, it's a wallaby! Oh, it's a wallaby! 2 weeks later, it's like,
Yep.
fucking wallabies.
Yeah. We actually got a reserve and where all the kangaroos hang out, and one of the local cemeteries as well. Because they've kind of concentrated on the native plants and things like that. So they've made it sort of like
Nice.
it's a cemetery, but there's big open spaces as well.
Oh,
So the
nice.
kangaroo there. But they do actually get culled quite a bit.
That's the same problem we have with badgers, I imagine.
Yeah.
Rabbits. I mean,
Nation just
yeah. So marsupials, they are kind of quite similar to like more similar to your mustela, aren't they? Like your badgers, like ferrets, polecats, weasels.
yeah.
In the way they when they breed, you don't get one. You get like 15 of the fuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're quite destructive, I imagine. I mean, one of the funniest things I've ever seen was a friend of mine who's he's like, we're both into wrestling, right? We were moaning one night about about how crap the current wrestling product was, and he went and found this video of 2 kangaroos beating the living crap out of each other
Oh
in
yeah,
like
they
the
do.
front of a pub, like slamming them on, slamming each other on tables and whacking with chairs and fucking kicking the shite out of each other. And he overdubbed it with wrestling commentary. And it's still the funniest thing I've ever seen. And he's going in for the drop kick. Patio table just mangled.
Yep. Yeah, no, it would.
Yeah, so like, does that actually? I've always wondered. Like, one night you're sitting there having a quiet drink with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever. You're sitting there, you're having a pint, and all of a sudden you got two kangaroos slamming the crap out of each other.
No, haven't come across it where we are. But you do see quite a few. Well, not a few, but a couple of kangaroos that have had a run-in with a car and things like that. So you tend to
car with all the door dented in or something.
Yeah. Oh well, our car's actually had a run-in with a kangaroo.
Really?
My husband was driving one night back from south of the river, I think it was, and along the main road, the kangaroo was just coming across.
Yeah.
And he couldn't really go anywhere, so he got clipped by the kangaroo. So the front driver's side doors still got the mark of this, kangaroo coming into it, and they were lucky that it didn't do any more damage.
Yeah, because imagine they're big old beasts. It's like because I've seen them in zoos, and before I'd seen them in zoos, you kind of don't realize how big they are.
Yeah, wallabies are quite small in comparison.
Yeah, wallaby. I think a lot of people who've never seen a kangaroo kind of think that they're all that wallaby size.
Yeah.
Kangaroos are big old buggers.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't want to be kicked by one of the buggers. I really wouldn't. I mean, Christ on a bike.
Like with the fact that they hang out in cemeteries, you can get close to them, but you don't want to get more than a couple of meters, just in case, because you never quite know.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, like especially like mating season, whatever, alpha males and all that kind of business. The animal kingdom. It happens with any groups of animals, doesn't it? You get too close to the wrong one, you're in the shit. So I moved down to Devon bunch of years ago, and I was working at an agricultural college in the kitchens, and I was working in the agricultural college, and I lived in the gatehouse, and it was an old manor.
Yeah.
And it was basically on this long winding country road, and it was like the most surreal thing I've ever seen in my life. I was walking like home because like there was like 2 buses a day or something out to where it was. I had a day off, so I got the bus out, went to the pub, got completely plastered, forgot about the next bus, and I had to walk like 3 miles back. Didn't really bother me. I bought a couple of beers for the walk, and I'm walking back, and I'm walking along this road, and there's a sign: "Beware of badgers." Seriously, vicious bastards. Again, you don't realize how big them fucking things are.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, you can probably guess I love wildlife, so I'm fascinated by wildlife. I mean, my gran always used to joke that if I could get on with people half as well as I get on with animals, I wouldn't have any more problems in life, unfortunately. But so where is Perth like to in terms of the coast?
It's right sort of on the coast.
Yeah. So I've got to ask, have you ever seen an octopus in the wild?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. That makes me happy. Do you know what it was? Was it like just a Pacific?
Oh, it's been a while, so Yeah, I couldn't tell you now.
No, it doesn't matter. It was an octopus, and it was in the wild. And that's the reason I need to go to Australia before I die. It's on my bucket list, just to see an octopus in the wild.
Yep.
You have them big old crabs and all, don't you? Them muddies.
Yep.
Big bastard crabs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jellyfish.
Oh yeah. I mean, we get some corking jellyfish here as well. We get a lot of squid here. Actually, cuttlefish is what we get most of.
Yeah. We get cuttlefish, but I tend to see the more dead ones than alive ones.
Yeah, I mean that's the cuttlefish. They don't live very long, and you tend to get the bone wash up. My mother used to breed parrots, so
yep. Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm quite quite used to the bone.
Yeah.
But I've seen them at there's a pier in Eastbourne, and it's more of a jetty than it's a jetty. It's not a pier. And you go in it in the summer, and you can see them all, and they're all like changing color.
Yeah.
Because they're like the colors they go through is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So I'm going to start wrapping this up very shortly.
Yep.
So Iron Faerie. Where would you like to see Iron Faerie go?
Eventually, like longer works, obviously, and more paid anthologies, kind of thing. So,
well, obviously that's hard when you're starting out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of indie authors understand that, and I know, but like speaking from personal experience, if the call is cool, but it seems like you've got quite a few people who are like, they like what you're doing and they're submitting and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just a case of growing that and getting awareness out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And back to this. Have you any more? Have you any more ideas about any more of these really cute pocket books?
I haven't. Well, I'm going to extend it. I just don't quite know what the next sort of call's gonna be, sort of thing. What the next theme for it's gonna be.
Yeah. Excellent. Right. Okay. I think we've about reached the end.
Yep.
Thank you very much. This has been
right.
Great. Thank you. Sorry if I waffled on about creatures. This is my kind of bag. So, yes, to all you at home, I've been joined tonight by Stacey Morrigan Mcintosh. And if you want to check out her website, it's staceyjanemcintosh.com. That's staceyjanemcintosh.com. Also, look her up on Facebook, so you'll be able to find the Iron Faerie Facebook group and all that kind of business from there, which is www.facebook.com/Stacey Jaine Mcintosh. That's www.facebook.com/Stacey Jaine Mcintosh. And all you aspiring writers out there is some cool calls open. Have you still got them 4 horsemen-y things?
Yeah, that's gonna reopen probably in about a week.
Because that's Drabbles, isn't it?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's why I haven't. I said I hurt my brain, but yeah, there is some really cool things. They've got a series of books about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And they're Drabble length, so exactly 100 words. And they've also got the Wraith Call, which is slightly bigger. What's the one on that? 2,000.
Is 2,000 to 4,000 words.
4,000, yeah. And the Nephilim one is going to reopen.
Yep.
Is 4 Seasons still open, or is that closed now?
that's closed. Yeah, I'm sorting it out now. So
Cool. I'm looking forward to that one because I know I'm in it. I know David Green's in it. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how people, other than people with like H.P. Lovecraft obsession, have taken that idea. I apologise to every publisher. I'm obsessed with it. I can't help it. Which is
I'm like that.
excellent. Well, you must have done. You accepted it. Which is ironfaeriepublishing.com. So that's ironfaeriepublishing.com. Again, as always, who else would I be? I've been Tim Mendes. Tim Mendes writer.wordpress.com. I still can't remember it. I still have to squint to see the cardboard. That's Tim Mendes writer.wordpress.com. Stacey, thank you very much. I know, like early morning. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking this time out of your day. I know you got a busy time. And thanks for joining me on this. And thank you all for watching. This has been After Hours. Good night.
When she's 10 feet tall.